Welcome back to my KATY Trail adventure, day 6. And I'm starting out here in Machens. This is the easternmost terminus of the KATY Trail. The first thing you have to know about Machens is there is absolutely no parking here. Why? I'm not too sure, other than the fact that right back there is a railroad, a working railroad, and that's why it ends here at Machens. The closest parking spot is a Black Walnut, which is about 4 miles west of here. So if there's no parking, how did I get here? Well, I actually rode 25 miles from my house to this point. I chose not to video any of that. I would just start right here as I headed back home. So once again, this is the end of the line. There's a little path that leads to a road there. Some people start out over in St. Louis and they work their way here. They can go through Portage de Sioux. I talked to a couple of people. They went across the Alton Bridge and got a flat tire when they did that. The only facility here is this little pit toilet. And here is mile marker 27. If you're not familiar with the how this is marked, they use the old railroad markings. And to show there is a working railroad over there, you will notice some lights for trains that still go by. So I've done this journey a little bit different than some people might. But I would say, however you do the KATY Trail, you do it your way. You make it fit your plans. Don't let anybody tell you, oh, you didn't do the KATY Trail right. You didn't do it from end to end. Well, I am doing the entire section within 10 days here. If you followed my other videos, and I hope you will link up to those, you saw that I had my bike heavily packed with camping gear and other types of things. Well, today I was able to lighten the load, but even at that 25 miles I am down to 60% on my battery life. So I'm thinking when I get to St. Charles, I'm going to eat lunch. I might find a place just to plug in for a little bit to top it off, because I sure don't want to run out, because once I get to the place where I'm going to head home, it is a steep uphill climb, and if I don't have any energy, then it's going to be kind of difficult to get home. I will also say, coming here today, there are so many bugs. I believe they are gnats. So as I head back, I may not be videoing very much as I travel, and if I do, I'm not going to open my mouth very much, because these things are super thick today. So there's not a lot of information at this trailhead like a lot of the trailheads, but it does have the basic map once again. Now, I started my journey about right there, and I headed all the way west. It took me 4.5 days to reach Clinton. And now today I'm doing this last section from Machens to the turnoff to my house. Actually, of course, already gone that 25 miles to Machens. So there is no information here about Machens, and that's how I pronounce it. And I think the people in St. Charles usually pronounce it that way. I've heard people pronounce it Machens, but people really don't know because there's no town here. I'm assuming that this was once a watering stop for the old steam engines, but I just simply don't know. If you have any idea about it, put some information in the comments below. This is the 5th time I've completed the KATY Trail. Back in 2007, my first journey, I did it in 3 days. I don't believe the Machens to St. Charles section was even open, and if it was really rough. Then a few years later, people would talk about this section as being very difficult. A lot of people would get flat tires if they tried riding it. In fact, I met a couple of gentlemen coming here today. They were pulled over and they were fixing a flat. I didn't actually do this section until 2013, the year after my 4th trip. And in fact, my wife did get a flat tire as we traveled on this section. So now I am heading back towards St. Charles. Just like the section around Marthasville and Dutzau, there is a lot of farming around here. There's a field of corn doing pretty well. This is considered the river bottom area, and in 1993, this was all flooded through here. It's mile marker 28. Also, this section has a lot of shade. With that comes a lot of bugs today. Coming into Black Walnut. There are a couple of houses around here. There's an old grain silo, and you can hear the train in the distance. There are no facilities here, however. No water, no toilet, anything like that. This is exactly 3 miles from Machens. There is a parking area right here. I don't know if you would want to park here and leave your car here for several days if you were going west. I would rather leave my car in St. Charles in the boathouse parking lot, actually. So leaving Black Walnut, mile marker 30, and back into the shade and the bugs. Over the weekend we had quite a few storms go through here. A lot of water build up, as you can see. It's one reason I delayed my final journey on the KATY Trail for today. Looks like an old train trestle used to come through here. There are none of those big bridges between really Green's Bottom and Machens like there are on some of the other portions of the trail. And now I am stopping here to show you that there is a sign that says that this is the low point of the KATY Trail between Black Walnut and St. Charles, 436 feet. In my last video, I passed the high point, which was right at 955 feet, I believe. So you can see there's not a lot of elevation gain or loss on the entire KATY Trail. So I believe we are getting right back on the actual train track back there going to the woods. That obviously wasn't where the train went. It was pretty windy. And I think once again we are leaving the actual train track into the woods. And I believe we are back on it again. And now the trail runs along the Missouri River once again. The confluence of the Missouri and Mississippi River is only 12 miles north of St. Charles. And that's right, it does run north for a while. Yes, you will see so much beauty along the KATY Trail in Missouri. So much well, sometimes you'll see other things too. Well, even a junkyard has to be somewhere, right? getting closer to St. Charles, and right over here is Disable Park. There's a little dog run area there, as well as picnic tables. Disable Park is named after the founder of Chicago, Jean-Baptiste Point Disable. Why is there a park in St. Charles, Missouri named after the founder of Chicago? Well, he spent the last few years of his life right here in St. Charles. And now I am passing under Highway 370, which is a bypass for Interstate 70. And here's the Burlington Northern Railroad. And right over there is Sedemeyer RV Park. Now, they do not allow tent camping in that RV park. I was talking to a gentleman the first night in Marthasville. He was from South Carolina and he was camping, but he was kind of bemoaning the fact that there was really no camping, tent camping here in St. Charles, and that's true. There really is not. There is a campground called 370 Lakeside, but it's about 8 miles away from St. Charles, obviously not on the KATY Trail, so that's not very convenient for people who are tent camping. Really, the closest one is either in Defiance, a place called Beyond the Trail, or Klondike Park, but both of those are pretty far away from St. Charles also. It's too bad they don't have a tent camping area here in St. Charles. And I just passed where you can get on the Boschert Greenway. It's a nice paved trail that goes to a place called Newtown, which is a developmental community of very nice houses and residences and canals. And these series of buildings was once a foundry where train cars were built. Today it's used for athletic facilities, pickleball, tennis, volleyball. Also, there's a climbing place for those folks who like to practice their climbing skills called Climb So Ill. It is a fascinating history here in St. Charles where the North Missouri Railroad began building cars here, and later on St. Charles took it over, and both passenger cars and other types of cars were built here. And then during World War II, the M3 tank was built here. There's only 2 places in the United States that built these tanks, and this was one of them. And another great shot of the Missouri River. Today, this section of the foundry is the Foundry Arts Center, where there are all sorts of artisans who do their work there. Painters, sculptors, like I said, all sorts of art. Right here is Riverside Drive that runs along the KATY Trail. The next street up is Main Street, very historic district here in St. Charles. Here's some remnants of the railroad track of the MKT KATY line. And you have the official trailhead. And right past that, or actually all around here, is Frontier Park. Here I am in St. Charles. It's right at noon time, and I just checked my battery. I'm at 30%. It's a 12-mile ride back to my home, actually almost 13. So I think I'm going to find a place just to plug in for a little bit. I don't want to go all the way to 100%, but I just want to be sure I can make it home with a little bit of battery. This is Main Street, St. Charles. Right there is the first state capitol, run by the state of Missouri. You can take tours there. And the historic buildings all along Main Street. There are about 30 restaurants to choose from, so I'm going to choose one today. I ate here at Lewis and Clark's, just right off the KATY Trail, and I got to eat outdoors and enjoy this beautiful day. After my lunch at Lewis and Clark, I'm now back on the KATY Trail right here next to Frontier Park in St. Charles. Right over here we have the old train depot. This is the KATY Depot, and it was built in 1895 or thereabouts. It was moved here from its location just north of here on the other side of the tracks, and it was refurbished. Did a great job. It's now used for like, well, you can rent it out for weddings. It's also used during festivals. Once again, the old train track left here as a sentimental reminder of the MKT Railroad when it ran through here until 1976. And we have the Lewis and Clark statue. And here we have a reminder of the campsite of Lewis and Clark back in 1804. Like I said, there are many eating places along Main Street, about 30 different restaurants, so a lot to choose from. This is the Lewis and Clark Boathouse and Museum, just right off the KATY Trail. And in a moment I'm going to head on out of St. Charles. So my voltage right now shows right around 50%. Now that's when I'm not pedaling. Once I start pedaling, it will drop down to like 40%. So, you know, what do you believe? I don't know. But I should be fine. I only have 12 miles to get to my house, so I feel pretty good about it. I know a lot of bikers who are either beginning in St. Charles or ending in St. Charles stay right here at the Country Inn and Suites. I think that's a pretty nice place to stay. You're right on the KATY Trail. This bridge takes people to the Ameristar Casino. I suppose you could stay there if you were ending your journey and you were feeling lucky. Go through this little culvert here. And underneath the I-70 bridge, the Louis Blanchette Bridge. And over here to my right, it's called the Streets of St. Charles. There are also a couple of hotels there, the Drury Inn, True Hotel, I think one other. Pretty rough through here because they've been doing some construction work. The plan is to put in a place called River Point, a walkway on the river, and right up here is Chicken and Pickle, an indoor and outdoor pickleball facility with a restaurant. I have not been there yet. Definitely a more urban vibe through here. Just one of the many differences on the KATY Trail, all 237 miles from Machens to Clinton. There's definitely some industrial areas on this part of the KATY. And right over here we have the Family Arena. I I believe it was built in the early 1990s, maybe the late 1980s, and it was built right on where the old railroad track would have been. So the KATY Trail has to maneuver around it right here. And we have another look at the family arena with the sound of the cicadas in the background. I'm not sure why this bridge is half blocked off. Maybe so vehicular traffic will not go over it. And here they are doing some maintenance on the KATY Trail. The Parks Department here in Missouri does a fantastic job. All state parks are free to anyone. Out-of-state people, in-state people. Different than some states. Some states charge a fee. Missouri does not, but they do have a tax that has been in force since the 1980s. I believe it's a 1/8 of a cent tax that goes directly to state parks. It's very popular here in the state. They renew that every 10 years, and every time it goes up for vote, it is passed overwhelmingly. And here we are going under the 364 bridge. You can take that jaunt to go up and cross that bridge to go to the Creve 4 area. And you can still get glimpses through the trees of the Missouri River. Now, when I say there are no bridges between Machens and Green Bottom, what I mean, of course, none of those suspension type bridges. There, of course, are little bridges all along the trail. And the kudzu has already started to grow on these plants and trees. That's, if you don't know about kudzu, it's an invasive species that covers the trees, and then it causes the trees to die because they're not getting sunlight. Sometimes they do spray, and you even have some bluffs along here. I had to stop and tighten up my mirror. It was kept falling down, and I thought I'd show you this little subdivision. Very nice houses up here. And very interestingly, there are some beehives right there. That's pretty cool. Somebody harvesting honey. And this is Duckett Creek. Every 3 months, I pay a bill to Duckett Creek for about $80. I guess if it goes to helping preserve the environment, it's all good. Once again, a lot of trimming going on today. So this is Green's Bottom Road that runs next to the KATY Trail. A lot of farmland right over there. And there's one more trailhead I'm going to get to, just right up this way. Once again, the cicadas are going crazy. I am approaching Green's Bottom Road Trailhead. I think in some of my other videos I inadvertently said Green Bottom, but it's Green's Bottom. This is the information booth right here, and the parking and the trailhead is across the way. I don't need to go there today or to stop here because only 3 miles from here is the parking lot at the end of Pittman Hill Road, where I will go up and start my journey home. And we have mile marker 48. Why is that significant? Well, if you watched my first video, the first mile marker I came to on my journey west was 49. Now I did not video that one, but I did video 50. So I have now completed the entire KATY Trail. Well, I did it before riding to Machens, but going west, I have now completed every inch of it. Here I am coming to the end of Pittman Hill Road. So that's where I started my journey 9 days ago. 6 days total riding on the KATY Trail. I started out this journey just right under 600 total miles. And right there you can see it says 878 miles, which that means I have gone 280 miles. Now that includes 25 extra miles just riding to Machens. That seems kind of high. Some people have said that these odometers on these electrics aren't exactly accurate, and it seems like a few more miles than I actually rode. But I definitely rode the 237 total miles on the KATY. So not much more to say, but I do feel like this was a successful trip all along. And on the e-bike, it did work out with some modifications. I learned a lot. I hope if you are going on a KATY Trail adventure, whether you're taking an e-bike or a traditional bike, that these videos have helped you. And I hope you have a fantastic journey. So thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe for more adventures. And until next time, happy trails.